Welcome back. With interest rates skyrocketing and outstanding revolving debt reaching $1 trillion this year, money management and debt have become hot topics. But do they impact everyone equally? Here to talk about the generational differences in money habits and their impacts, as well as how you can achieve a healthier financial future, is National Debt Relief's Natalia Brown and Dasha Kennedy. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So to start off, Natalia, you recently conducted a national survey to have a deeper understanding of the impact of bad money habits across generations. Can you share some of the findings?
Oh, absolutely. Dasha and I are really excited to have this conversation with you. We wanted to have a better understanding of generational differences and the impact it had on people and their money habits. So we found some really interesting things, but the big takeaway was it confirmed that we need more actionable tools so that people can help change their behaviors across all generations. Over 60% of people admitted to making poor decisions when it came to money, and 42% said they were going through current financial struggles. On the flip side, the majority of people claim that they have at least some information about how to develop better money habits, but over 50% of those people haven't incorporated them. Generationally, millennials seem to be more self-aware and responsible of their financial actions, with 71% owning up to their habits, and 45% of them were equipped with information that they use to create better financial habits through books, influencers, podcasts, and apps. And they were more actively using that knowledge. It's way more for that one particular generation. So at National Debt Relief, our mission is to make sure people are not just handling their immediate debt, but we want to make sure that there's behavioral change that contributes to people building a more secure financial future for themselves and their families.
And beyond the common bad money habits you have identified, have there been any surprising or less obvious financial behaviors that your research uncovered?
Dasha?
Yes. So in the survey, National Debt Relief survey, some of the most common bad money habits were writing off small purchases as insignificant. And these are small purchases that usually go unnoticed, like vending machine fees, last minute grabs at the checkout line, and unused subscriptions and membership services. Gambling was also something that came up, which doesn't necessarily mean casinos. It could mean something like buying lottery tickets, which most people think is insignificant because of the price, but it adds up very quickly. Using credit cards was also one. Using credit cards to pay bills, it can be troublesome if you're using them without a plan to pay off the balance in full. And these habits contribute to the cycle of debt because they create a pattern of financial instability and reliance on credit to maintain possibly a certain lifestyle or cover unexpected or unnecessary expenses. Over time, the interest and the fees add up, making it very challenging to break free from this cycle.
I feel everything you're saying. I am guilty of those little purchases here and there that, like you said, you think they don't add up. You think a $5 coffee here, $5 coffee, then it's like, wow, at the end of the month, I spent like $50 on coffee. So it is a lot. So with that, what are the most common money habits that seem to transcend generations, and how do these habits contribute to a cycle of debt?
Just going back to what we actually said in the survey, it called out writing off small purchases, gambling, lottery tickets. All of them contribute to the ongoing cycle of debt. So that was some things that really came up. Those are some habits that transcend between generations.
And also the survey revealed that 65% of millennials and Gen Zers are worried about baby boomers' impact on their financial future. Could you delve a little deeper into these concerns and shed light on how intergenerational financial decisions may affect the younger generations?
Yes, so there are a ton of factors that play into that. When we think of the financial advice that transcends between different generations, there are different conversations happening because we were faced with different financial problems from one generation to next. But when we consider the cycle that we would need to break when it comes to debt, I definitely believe that it requires a conscious effort for us to change some of these habits. This can involve creating a budget, reducing unnecessary expenses, building an emergency fund, on seeking financial education and making a commitment for us to live within our means. And although we are having different conversations, we got some great advice from the older generations to the younger generations. For example, 61% of the baby boomers that took the survey, they recommended that the younger generations create an emergency savings fund, and 53% recommended that we save and invest. So although we have been faced with different financial issues because of our different generations, we were able to get some great advice from the older generations to the much younger.
Absolutely. And Dasha, as the founder of the Broke Black Girl, you have been instrumental in promoting financial education and equity. So how can initiatives like yours contribute to bridging the gap between generations and fostering a more secure financial future for all?
Yes, I think that it's important that as a younger generation that we make sure that our financial issues that we are experiencing, that we are seen and that we are heard. I think that it is impossible for us to be having the right conversations. So many times the advice can seem generic or it can close out certain conversations. And I think that it is important for the younger generation to lead conversations about what we are actually experiencing with our finances.
And, we want to get as much information as possible from this conversation. So I'm going to ask both of you to share some tips on how to cope and overcome financial debt.
Oh, sure. So the first step, really, like Dasha said, is make a conscious effort to, understand your financial situation. I'm a millennial myself, so I understand sometimes it might be scary to get a full picture, but you have to start somewhere. So get the balances, get the interest rates, find out what the minimum monthly payments are. And if it feels overwhelming, it's okay to ask for help. Sometimes we feel shame behind that, but that we don't have to. You might want to get some advice from a reputable debt settlement company or from a financial advisor. I would always say do your research before you engage with anyone and make sure that they're accredited and they will actually help you with throughout your journey. For National Debt Relief, we focus on affordable monthly payments, deposits, and we focus on speed. So paying that minimum balance will take years and years and years. We try to get our clients out of debt between 24 and 48 months, and we are a community. We have a huge support and client community where you can actually have conversations, just like Dasha said, it takes a whole village sometimes to make sure that you're supported. And then once you have that plan, whatever the plan is, you have to stay committed. It won't work if you kind of fall off or you do it here and there. It's okay. Sometimes you might find challenges, you might be discouraged, but I say progress is slow. It does take time to create habits. The habits don't develop themselves overnight. They won't be undone overnight. So just stay motivated and try to celebrate your achievements. And that doesn't have to cost anything. It might be a walk in the park or jumping up and down, whatever it might be, spending some time with some friends. But do recognize that progress is progress.
Absolutely. Dasha?
Yeah, so to add to that, I'll definitely say develop a realistic monthly budget that outlines your income and your expenses. This will help you identify areas where you can cut back on spending and possibly allocate that money towards debt repayment. There are so many apps out here that exist to help you budget, track spending, and set up automatic savings goals. Live below your means if possible, which will allow you to save. This can look like waiting for sales for large purchases, negotiating prices, budgeting in funds so that you can avoid overspending or canceling out any memberships that you don't use. And lastly, find ways to keep yourself accountable. This could look like joining financial communities online and support groups, or even finding an accountability partner, someone who you share some of the same goals with. This can be a very powerful way to help you stay on track with your financial goals.
I want to thank both of you so much for taking the time out for speaking with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
For more information, you can visit their website at nationaldebtrelief.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open right after this.